Welcome to our comprehensive analysis of Boston's real estate market in 2025. This year has seen significant legislative, executive, and judicial actions at local, state, and federal levels, influencing housing affordability, zoning reforms, taxation policy, and more. With an ever-changing market shaped by new regulations, economic factors, understanding these shifts is essential for homeowners, renters, and investors alike. Make sure you stay till the end to find out which of the most important actions may affect your decisions. Housing affordability remains a pressing issue in Boston, driven by high demand, limited supply, and increasing development costs. In response, Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey signed the Affordability Act in August of 2024, aiming to build or preserve 65,000 homes through a $5.1 billion authorization and 49 policy initiatives. The act emphasizes the development of affordable housing, seeking to alleviate financial burden on low and middle-class income families. It introduces incentives for developers to create mixed-income housing, expand funding for public housing renovations, and provides tax credits for first-time homebuyers. Additionally, it sets aside resources for workforce housing, aiming to support essential workers such as teachers, nurses, and emergency responders who often find it challenging to afford homes in the communities they serve. Local housing advocates have largely supported the Affordable Homes Act, citing its potential to increase inventory and ease competition in the housing market. However, some critics argue that while funding is substantial, bureaucratic delays and zoning restrictions could hinder the speed of implementation. The success of the plan will depend on collaboration between state agencies, local municipalities, and private developers. To promote equitable housing development and address the region's growing population, Massachusetts implemented the MBTA Communities Act. This law requires cities and towns served by the MBTA to establish at least one zoning district where multifamily housing is permitted as of right. The goal is to create denser transit-oriented development that provides more housing options while reducing reliance on cars and easing traffic congestion. Despite legal challenges, the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts upheld the constitutionality of the MBTA Communities Act in January of 2025, reinforcing the state's commitment to expanding housing near transit hubs. The ruling set a precedent for future zoning laws, ensuring that municipalities comply with the state's housing priorities. Urban planners argue that transit-oriented growth is crucial for Boston's long-term growth, as it helps bridge the gap between housing supply and demand while reducing environmental impacts. However, implementation challenges remain, particularly in suburban communities that have resisted higher density developments. Some towns are slow to comply, citing concerns over infrastructure strain and challenges to neighborhood character. The state has warned that noncompliance could result in the loss of state funding in various municipal projects. Thinking about relocating to Boston? Well, I've got just the thing for you. Me and my team have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research. I've linked it down below. From top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other things that you need to know before you make the move. The best part is that the guide is 100% free. That's right, you heard me, 100% free. Just click the link below in the description or the top pinned comment. Hope that helps. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu has proposed adjustments to property tax rates to prevent increases for homeowners by raising commercial property taxes. The plan aims to alleviate financial pressures on residential property owners while ensuring that the city continues to generate necessary revenues for public services. However, this proposal has faced delays in the state legislature, creating uncertainty for both homeowners and business owners alike. Local economists have debated the potential effects of tax policy changes on Boston's real estate market. Supporters argue that the tax shift will protect middle-class homeowners from escalating property taxes, allowing them to stay in their homes despite rising property values. On the other hand, critics warn that increasing commercial property taxes could drive businesses out of the city or could lead to higher costs for consumers as businesses pass on the tax burden. With Boston's economy relying on a balance between residential stability and a thriving business environment, the outcome of this debate will have long-term consequences. Commercial real estate investors and business owners are closely watching legislative proceedings to determine how the changes will affect their financial strategy. strategies. A significant judicial decision in 2025 impacted rental regulations across Massachusetts. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court ruled in favor of a new law allowing individuals to petition courts to seal past eviction records effective May 5, 2025. This move aims to remove barriers to securing housing for those with previous evictions, offering a second chance to tenants who may have faced financial hardships in the past. Tenants' rights advocates argue that this measure will provide greater housing stability for vulnerable populations, especially those affected by COVID-19 pandemic and the economic downturn, by preventing landlords from automatically rejecting applicants based on their past evictions. This law is expected to increase tenant access to rental housing for thousands of residents. However, some landlords worry about transparency and tenant screening and the potential risks of renting to individuals with histories of non-payment and leasing violations. Property management associations have called for additional safeguards, such as requiring tenants to demonstrate financial stability before records are sealed. The balance between tenant protections and landlord rights remains a contentious issue, and further legislative refinements may be required to address concerns on both sides. At the federal level, executive actions have played a role in shaping Boston's real estate landscape. Adjustments to mortgage lending regulations have affected borrowing power, with new policies aimed at expanding access to first-time homebuyer programs. The Biden administration has also introduced initiatives to lower mortgage insurance premiums and provide additional housing for affordable housing projects. Economic conditions have led to fluctuating interest rates, which have further impacted affordability in Boston's already competitive market. Now for the question of the day. What brings you to Boston? The history, charm, a specific industry? Make sure you leave your answer in the comment below. I want to hear what you have to say. Also, if you have any questions or thoughts, you can also leave those in the comments below, or even better, text, call, or email me. My information should pop up on the screen. The Federal Reserve's monetary policy decisions have influenced mortgage rates, affecting both homebuyers and refinancers. While lower interest rates earlier this year spurred an increase in home purchases, recent rate hikes have slowed down market activity, making affordability an ongoing challenge. The Boston real estate market continues to evolve, influenced by legislative reforms, executive decisions, and judicial rulings. While challenges persist, these initiatives aim to create more equitable and accessible housing environment. Developers, policymakers, and community organizers must work together to ensure that cities meet its housing needs while balancing economic growth and sustainability. Hi guys, it's Chris. As much as I love making these videos, there's one thing that I love more, and that's helping families and people from all over the US make the move here to Boston. I've helped countless families make the move, so whether you're coming out for the week, the next month, or even the next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is below, right there on the screen, and linked in the description in case you missed it in the on-screen pop-up. I look forward to helping you and your family make the move to Boston. As 2025 unfolds, the Boston real estate market landscape is undergoing transformative changes. Through concerted efforts in policy reforms and community engagement, the city strives to meet the housing needs of all its residents, paving the way for a more inclusive future.